DJI Mavic 4 on FCC Database? Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Marcus Crawford and Mr. Ron Braun. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the information regarding the DJI Mavic 4 on the FCC database. We looked at pricing, release date, and much more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I'm going to go ahead and share this. This came out. This was on Igor's Twitter page. DJI, this is on 2024, 10/15. Igor shares that DJI may be releasing something on 10/15 of 2024. And when you bring the link up, it says on here, hashtag DJI Air 3. So,
Bill, the 15th, that'll only be 5 days after we receive the Neo in the U.S.
Yeah. It's possible because, I think they're going to an aggressive release schedule. And nothing surprises me with what DJI is doing because, obviously they're, the whole thing with the ban and everything has got them in high gear. And, the article came out last week and you guys probably saw it, that they are considering actually this time seriously considering building a manufacturing plant here in the United States to get around this because they said, we will not abandon the USA market. They came out and they made that statement. And I covered that in last week's show.
I just want to answer Tar Heels. Ron, you've got some too.
Yeah, Tar Heel. The DJI action cameras and pocket cameras are as good as the drones. In some cases, better. Like the Pocket 3 could rival all, and probably better camera than the DJI consumer drones. Very
popular with this crew. Ron has the Action 5. Bill, you've got the Action 4. Correct?
Yes.
And
so a couple of us have DJI cameras.
And the pockets are even better,
Oh yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ron. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and
Pocket 3 is probably the king of the hill. I mean, if you don't need something rugged.
You can see down here it says Sky Pixel down here, and of course everything.
You know what Sky Pixel is, Bill? That's the website where you can share your DJI stuff too.
Right.
Run by DJI.
So whether or not this is real, I mean, Igor posted this. We'll find out.
Now, Bill, that top picture at the top of that building, do you think that's zoomed in with a 3x tele lens?
It could be. It could be. So we'll find out shortly. I mean, that's not that far away.
The 15th, that means we're on countdown 14 days, Bill. And what day the 15th falls on? It falls on a Tuesday, Bill.
Falls on a Tuesday. That's right.
Maybe we could have one on set that night.
Who knows? It could happen. It really could happen. Make some calls to Frank. See if we can get that to happen.
The mover and shaker in the DJI world. That's Bob Dempsey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here.
Hey, can you? Tar Hill has another question. Marcus, can you handle this one? How about the Mini 4 Pro? What's the highest wind is safe to fly? We know that's a level 5 drone, isn't it?
Which is 24 miles an hour winds. It's rated for level 5. I can tell you, I'm not going to tell you to do it. I'm not going to even suggest that you do it. But I've had it up in 30, 35 mile an hour gusts, and it did okay. Right. Now, just because I got away with it doesn't mean you will. But it is level 5 rated.
Let me ask you a technical question, Marcus. When it's level 5 and it's rated for 24, is that 24 sustained or is that 24 gusts?
I would say gusts. It just says 24 miles an hour. So
I can verify what Marcus is saying here. The an old one used to say, Marcus, the Mini 4 Pro fights above its weight class as far as handling the wind. I'm not telling anybody to take it up in more than 24, but it's the best mini drone I've ever seen in the wind, bar none.
So to answer Tar Heel Ariel's next question, all three on this panel.
We already
Yeah.
covered that, Tar Heel. It's well, according to Igor, one of our big leakers, one of our big sources here. He's got information saying the 15th of October. So we're on a 14-day countdown.
We're on a countdown right now.
And we're all going to buy it. I think Johnny's going to buy it. I bet you John Flynn will buy it.
Well, Johnny's not buying any more drones, remember.
Well, he will. I want Greg Pittman. I bet Greg Pittman will buy it.
How about Mike Wright? Do you think he'd buy a drone like that?
Oh, Mike Wright will get it for sure. Yeah.
Well, now we had some exciting news about the Mavic 4, and I want to go ahead and share that. Now, this was from Jasper Ellens, and he posted quite a bit of information, so I thought I'm going to go ahead and share that here. Now, I'm positive this is the Mavic 4 FCC registration. We see a bigger battery indicating flight time improvements and a double registration like previous Cine and Pro versions. DJI is trying to hide the FCC names, but it doesn't matter. Hello, Mavic 4. And here it is, JV31, JV32. And again, the differentiation, as Jasper states, is due to these Pro and the Cine models right here. You take a look right here. JV31, JV32, and take a look at the number, and that was on 9/26, so that recently just came out. And then right here, there is a picture of the board right there, and some items are circled. Now this, you guys remember we saw this before, and we all speculated that this was the Air 3S. Well, it's not. This was the Mavic 4. You can take a look, because we saw that other picture where it was all bunched up with the other Sony cameras, and it was upside down. But here it is in the flesh right here.
So Bill, this is proof positive that Johnny has it right now, and you can tell Johnny's been flying it.
The good thing Johnny had care
I'm not
of
going there. I'm not going there. I'm so not going there. So this is gonna this is gonna be real interesting, because this is coming. We're getting this information fast and furious right now, and I would not be surprised at a probably late November, early December release.
I was going to say, Bill, if that's true that the FCC has it been filed or whatever, approved already, that definitely means it's coming before the end of the year then, Bill, right? If it's already received its approval.
Yeah, if it's already received approval, which Jasper indicates here, which he's very correct on that.
Jasper was saying he was just guessing here or speculating. He didn't confirm this 100%. He said I think or whatever. I'm sure. He didn't have this 100% confirmed.
Now, if you take a look, the battery is the same on both of them here. Okay, 14.76 volts, 6471 milliamp hours, 99.5 watt hours here. So they're
that
both
makes sense,
same.
Marcus. The Cine and the original Pro had the same battery, I believe.
Yeah. So I wanted to clarify that, because I know some people would probably ask about that. And then, of course, that picture of it right there with a real rounded front end. I mean, it's this. This is like it's like a kid in a penny candy store here, and it's coming fast and furious. I mean, before we know
Brown is just saying it's the biggest battery you can bring on a plane or something.
Yeah, he's probably right. Probably right. Now, and somebody pointed out, I think Casey Crimefighter did when we started the show, and about that dock worker strike that's going on right now, that could interfere with things coming over from China. Wow. It's
always something to slow a drone down, Bill.
Well, they'll find a way to get it over here. But see, the thing is, okay, because of the lithium ion batteries, they have to come by ship. Okay, flying them is problematic, because I know anytime that I sell a product that has lithium ion, it has to get shipped ground. Whether it's UPS or USPS or FedEx, it has to go ground. and the closest to ground you have is a ship, and it has to come over on the ship, and it does take a while to get over here. So, I don't know about that. How long that's going to take, I don't know. But it's going to have a longer flight time. We can tell from that battery, because that is some big numbers for a battery. Okay, it's probably going to have, I'm going to say, this is just off the top of my head, at least 45 minutes. I would say reasonable from looking at that battery. I mean, right now my Mavic 3 Pro, I can get it up for 38, 39, almost 40 minutes. All right, and it's not, Marcus. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. It's, what I'm finding is it's almost too much sometimes. Now, when I really appreciate that battery power is doing a hyperlapse or a long waypoint mission. But boy, when you're just flying the drone, manual flying the drone yourself, trust me, after 40 minutes, you're so focused. It's time to land it and bring it down.
I know exactly what you're saying. Well, you get even with the cruise, I'll call it, the cruise control. Even with that, I mean, your thumbs get tired, and you get, it just, you want to be done with your flight at that point in time.
Well, it's also the focus. I think it's, for me, at least, Bill and Ron, and you guys chime in, but it's more of a mental thing for me because you're so focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I've had this conversation. Well, I don't feel the need to go out and fly a battery all the way down. If I go out and get what I want to catch, I land a drone. These drones don't die overnight or whatever. So the next day you go fly someplace with the same battery, or that same day maybe you go fly to 2 or 3 locations. I don't understand the need to drain. Well, I mean, okay, if you're not going to fly the drone for more than a week or whatever, I understand maybe the need to drain it down or whatever. But other than that, why drain a battery all the way down for nothing?
So that's another great point, an excellent point that Ron just made. So what I don't like to do, and what I found myself doing with drones like the Air 2S, is because they had such a smaller flight time, is that I would run that battery further down than I was comfortable with. In other words, I didn't want to put that battery in storage with only a 5% or even less charge on it. Mm-hmm. And that's where these bigger capacity batteries are also an advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a thread on Tundra Nation, the Facebook group today, and people, Matt Condolf, a couple people with good answers. They were saying, how should you handle your batteries? And I'll go, Mark says, don't run that battery all the way down to 10% and then put it away or whatever. If you want to charge that battery up to 100%, and even if you're not going to fly for a couple weeks, you let that battery drain on its own down to its natural storage state of whatever. It could be 50%. You don't have to manage that. DJI, it's a smart battery. It will drain stuff down to its storage thing if it's not flown for a week or so.
That's exactly what I do, Ron. I mean, that's another really good point that you just made. It's important. So often when I'm going to go out and fly, let's say the Air 3S, and I've got the Fly More kit, or excuse me, the Air 3. I wish I had the Air 3S. The Air 3. You got the 3 batteries for it in the Fly More combo, right? I charge them all, even if I only use 1 battery that day or 2 batteries, and then I don't worry about it, because then the other batteries they'll discharge down to what DJI says is the optimal storage charge. So It's a good thing.
Well, sometimes I know if I have a battery, it's already in storage charged, and I know I'm not going to use any more than 2 batteries. I just won't touch that one. It's already in storage charge.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah.
Johnny puts up a good question here: is how much is a 4 going to be? 3,200 or something like that. I would say you're probably pretty accurate, Johnny. Because of these advanced features on it, where it's at, it's going to be around there. Now, that would probably be for a Pro, not for just like a regular vanilla Mavic 4. The Pro is going to have all the bells and whistles on it, and and especially if you get to fly more, you're probably knocking on that door. I would say maybe even 3,500, and I think people are going to be, take some hard breaths on that one. But yeah, I mean, and we're at the point that the Mavic 4 is really kind of branching. It's touching both consumer and professional. I mean, it's really kind of, and that's what I found with the Pro. I don't know about you, Marcus, but I think it has the best. It's the best of both worlds. You can be very much a professional with that, and you can be very much a consumer with that. So it fits the bill for both, and that's why I think DJI. I think that's why the Mavic sell real well, because they can do both really well, and you can be comfortable in one space or another with that.
I told Ron that we could go halvies on one, and I would just keep it at my place, and whenever he wants to borrow it, he can just come by and use it. Yeah. Well, love you, buddy.
and with the camera that's going to be on this too. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, looking at projecting what kind of camera, it's going to be probably the best prosumer consumer / professional drone that DJI's ever come out with.
But let me help you out. Somebody dropped a rumor this weekend on Twitter. I forget who it was. It wasn't Igor. I don't think it was Jasper either. They said the camera configuration for the Mavic 4 would be the 4/3 sensor and the main wide angle lens. It would have a 1-inch 3x camera or whatever. That's a step up from a 1/3. Even the 7x would be a 1/2-inch sensor.
Yeah.
So Ron, I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Well, so Ron, probably the most important thing, more than the size of the sensor, and I'll bet you'll agree with this, is the color science, right? We want them all to look the same and have the same feel, so that when you're editing that video together, every one of those lenses, you're not doing a bunch of gyrations to make it look right.
Yeah, the only way you can do that now is to shoot D-Log and all of them and do a lot of color grading. And Marcus, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but if they all are 3 different camera sensor sizes, I doubt whether they're going to match up any better than what we have on the Mavic 3 Pro now. But I could be all wrong on that.
One of the things that I'm going to say, and Ron, thanks for the information about the camera.
I wish I had a link to that tweet, but I don't, Bill.
Yeah, I think I came across that as well too. I did read that somewhere. One of the things that DJI is doing, and I don't know about you, because I know, I'm not, when I get into DaVinci Resolve, I'm not a guy that's going to go and use LUTs. I'm not a guy that's going to go in and do, go in there and adjust colors or anything like that. I'm going to take it as it is. It comes off the drone, and that's what we're going to do. I may add a little brightness to it, but not much more than that. And I'll tell you what, these things snap, because it's real interesting. What I do is the first thing I do after I come back is I download all my raw footage onto my PC. And Valerie usually sits here with me, and she looks at that and her jaw drops just as it comes straight off the camera, off the drone. And I put it in there, and she's looking at it, and she says, "What did you do?" I said, "Nothing. This is as it is." She's like, "Wow, that's impressive." Okay. And it is. You just take a look at it without even touching it, and it's fantastic. And I mean, it's so much more. And you know what? I'll never forget when Ron and I were at Reddington Beach, and he was looking at my Mavic 2, and he was just, his jaw dropped looking at the colors on it and the difference between that and his Mavic Pro.
And the larger sensor, the light.
Yeah, that light that came in, it did everything, and it was just amazing, the difference between the two.
Yeah. A lot of these drones, the video looks great off the camera, no doubt about it. I mean, some situations require, if you want to get the video looking the best, requires a little work, but if the lighting's good, it doesn't.
Yeah. And David brings up a good point here. Some type of auto switching functionality, switch between the 3 cameras. Wow.
The Mavic 3 Pro already does that in Explorer mode. Now it does restrict your frame rate. I remember all the things that
also, Marcus.
Say again.
The original Mavic 3 did it also in Explorer mode.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember all the things that it restricts when you're in Explorer mode. There's a number of the functions that you can't use in Explorer mode, but you can just smoothly zoom and it'll switch between the cameras. Now hold it, Ron. One thing that we forgot about is with the original Mavic, you had that big jump from 4X to 7X, right?
Well,
Yeah.
if you did Explorer mode, of course it would do digital zoom, so you wouldn't you wouldn't see that big jump because it would digitally zoom the wide angle up
Oh, did
and
it?
then jump to
Okay.
7x. I mean, so it wouldn't be optimum video quality because you were seeing a digital zoom, but you wouldn't see that jump. The big jump is when you would switch it manually.
Yeah, but I can tell you the Mavic 3 Pro, because it's got the 3X and the 7X, you can just zoom right into 28 by.
Yeah.
Well, the way things are shaping up right now, I'm going to say, like for the Air 3S, I think that's something we'll probably see at the end of the month, beginning of next month, shipping. Okay, if what we saw, what Igor posted comes to fruition on the 15th, my guess is I think they've learned their lesson. I say this again.
It won't be a pre-order, Bill.
It won't be a DJI Neo kind of release. Okay, it will be. You'll be getting it not long after you order it. Okay, and more than likely it will be in stores. Okay, this is just on my part, and it will probably be 1st of November-ish. I'm gonna say we'll probably see. We'll probably be getting some strong rumors about the time that we're getting our Air 3Ss from FedEx and UPS landing on our doorstep. We'll probably be getting information on the Mavic 4 at that time in terms of an actual release date. And I'm going to say it's probably going to be not long after Thanksgiving because they'll probably have it in time so you can get that nice little Mavic 4 Pro under your Christmas tree with bells and whistles on it.
So what you're saying, Bill, if you're on a limited budget, you can only afford one of those two drones, and you really want the Mavic 4, you would just hold off and pass on the.
You would have to bypass. I would bypass on the Air 3S.
Keep your wallet in your pocket until around Thanksgiving.
Or take a loan off your 401k.
Or take a loan off your 401k, or break that piggy bank open,
or second mortgage. Second mortgage is always an option.
Mortgage is always an option. Absolutely. A firm also works really well, and they're available.
And let me be a negative, especially since you won't have any more DJI drones for 5 years. You might as well just go all in now.
Hey, Tar Heel, good night.
Casey's got to go.
Yeah.
Hey, and Bill, I don't think that we'll see the rush on the Air 3S as we did the Neo because price-wise, the Air 3S is a much higher category. And drones that cost, say, $1,200, they don't blow out like the more cheaper price drones do.
Exactly. That's a great point, Ron. We're not going to see them, where it's going to be like, they're just going to fly, literally off the shelves, that kind of, the $199 price point for the Neo, obviously that's like a no-brainer. But at $1,500 for the Air 3S, we're just conjecturing here, that thing, it's going to be enthusiasts like us who are going to snag it up. It's not going to be, what you're seeing with the Neo.
Yeah, it's going to be a much more considered purchase.
Right. Exactly. You're going to have, this is going to take some thought and consideration. And, and the same thing with those that are going to go with the Mavic 4 Pro. Now, if you're looking to get either one of these two drones, okay, and you're watching your budget, you probably want to go with the Air 3S. Okay. That would be my opinion right now, because you're going to get a lot of the things that you're going to, it's going to be a step up from the Air 3. Okay. That's guaranteed. Okay. Will it be a Mavic 4 Pro? No, but it's going to knock your socks off, because the Air 3 knocked my socks off constantly. I out of all the drones I've owned, it's the drone that just every single time, guys, I had it up, it was flawless. It did everything. I couldn't have had a more perfect drone the whole time I owned it.
That's
the my go-to, Bill, even though I could grab a Mavic 3 with a bigger sensor, which I sometimes do for photos if I'm going on photos that shoot by. The Air 3 is the one I grab first.
Absolutely. It does everything, and it did it flawlessly. I had zero complaints with that. The battery was fantastic. Battery life was fantastic on that. Had absolutely no issues. That thing handled the wind like a champ. I had that up there in 35, 40 mile an hour winds, and it was just rock solid.
It's a slightly better flyer than the Mavic 3 series.
Yeah, it is. And I think because of the way its aerodynamics, its weight, everything, I think it it just was absolutely perfect. I expect the same thing out of the Air 3S. I expect that to be just every bit as good as the Air 3 and then some. So if that's my opinion between the two. Now, if you can afford both, go for it. Okay. You know, you got to be wise with your dollars.
Well,
and
maybe I'll cancel my Neo order and say that put that money towards the Mavic 4.
Here's the thing: if the Mavic 4 is similarly priced to what the Mavic 3 Pro is now, in other words, if you could buy the single battery kit for $2,000, $2,100, and the Fly More kit for like $2,500, I could potentially buy it. But if it's $3,000 or $3,500, I'll have to really pause. There's going to have to be something on there that really floats my boat.
It would have to have the optical zoom that we think about,
that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like having all the DJI line of drones. I like flying them all. I charge batteries on the Air 3 or the Mavic 3 Pro today. I'm going to definitely want to get it out and go flying. But there is a limit, right? If you get to that price point, that it's just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Marcus, because as much as I hate to use a cliche, you got to eat, and you got to pay for utilities, and you got to get groceries and put gas in the car. It's just, I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is.
Yeah, and plus, when you have a drone like the Mavic 3, the Air 3, or you say the Air 3, it does everything we want it to do or whatever. Having a drone that does it slightly better for twice the price doesn't add up.
Question of the day: what did you think of DJI Mavic 4 on FCC Database? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.